What the fuck is up, YouTube? What the fuck is going on, man? It's your boy, Insight motherfucking 11, man. Right now, man, I just want to talk about how knowledge and wisdom and shit like that. Because look, a person can learn all the knowledge they want to. A person can have access to all the books they want to. A person can have access to all the information they want to. Because the reality is, we live in an abundant world. And if a person wants to do something, if a person wants to access something, if a person wants to change their life in some way, shape, or form, everyone has the access to do that. There's access around. So when I go outside, the sun is outside and the sun vitalizes the environment. It vitalizes the trees, it vitalizes ours. It vitalizes me when I wake up in the morning and shit like that. When the sun is up, I feel like I want to get up too and shit like that, right? So it's like the access, the self, whatever a person want to call it, abundance, all possibilities, God. It's available for everybody in the universe, for everyone to access. It's available for everyone in the world to access and things like that, right? But here's the thing though. At times, too much knowledge, the pursuit of knowledge, the pursuit of wisdom, what I like to look at as the aspect of Jupiter, where a person might respect knowledge and wisdom so much, where a person might respect this idea of let me get a bunch of books, let me get a bunch of occult knowledge, let me get a bunch of esoteric knowledge and things like that, and let me just collect this knowledge. But here's the thing though, the pursuit of knowledge itself is kind of like vain in a way, because like can have a bunch of knowledge, but if a person doesn't actually apply that knowledge in a practical way to affect their life in a practical way, for someone to actually create some type of a practical, dense, like external they want to manifest, want to participate in, or however they want to be, if a person practicalize and densify these things and create that conclusion in their life, and a person has all these books, all this esoteric knowledge, all this occult knowledge, right? It becomes useless because it's like, what's all that knowledge being used for if a person is not actually changing their life? Where it's literally like it's just a form of laziness. It's a form of like vain pursuit. Where it's like, why would a person sit back and pursue all this knowledge, pursue all occult information, but they're not doing anything with this occult information? It just becomes foolishness, where it becomes like being a collector. And there's nothing collector and shit like that if you know what you're doing with it. But like, use the knowledge to actually change your life. Use the knowledge to actually influence your mind. Use the knowledge to actually help yourself change yourself and shit like that. And if that's not being, then whatever that knowledge is being used for is probably some desire, probably intention, that's probably just a type of alternative motive that the person is hiding behind closed doors and shit like that, right? So it's like having so much knowledge is useless and that. A person doesn't even need so much knowledge in the first place, because knowledge is just a ledge that we kind of go by and stuff like that. But there's another ledge after that, and there's another ledge after that, and we use knowledge to change our lives. But knowledge is not something to just kind of hoard in a library or just hoard in a corner and not actually apply in your life. Because if a person is not applying knowledge, what's the point of hoarding all that shit? Where a person literally becomes a hoarder, where a person just is a fucking whore, whereas like a person is just hoarding all this shit for themselves. But what are they doing with it? If a person is not doing anything with knowledge, then what's the point of even having it in the first place? Because so this shit has to be, because here's the thing, man. Even me being like this esoteric spiritual dude, right? People respect Jupiter so much, wisdom and knowledge and stuff like that, right? And that's great. There's nothing wrong with being wise and shit like that. But if you're wise, if a person is truly wise, they will do what actually brings them a healthy, good result. That, right? Like, we have doctors in the world, for example. We have people that are in these supposed positions where they're knowledgeable and adept at whatever they do. Yet, when you look at these doctors, a lot of them have very fucked up health. A lot of them have like a fucked up life. A lot of them have like a fucked up relationship and stuff like that, right? So it's like, what's the point of knowing all this and being a surgeon, understanding how your anatomy of your body works, but you're not gonna use it to actually have a positive effect, a positive change on your body? Yeah, where a doctor would sit there, recommend you a bunch of shit, but they're not doing none of this shit. But the way the pharmaceutical industry is set up is different, because it's just there to make up money. They're not really there to help people with their health. They're just really there to deal with the symptoms and never look at the root of the problem and help you with that. Because if they do deal with the root of the problem, then a person is not going to be coming back to their system to help them replicate and duplicate the money that they're getting. 'Cause that's why a lot of these doctors get pissed off when you bring certain stuff. So it's just a fucking crazy thing. But the pursuit of knowledge is just vain when a person is not applying that knowledge to their life. It's really like shameful, actually, if you really think about it. Because it's like, what's the point of hoarding all this information but not applying it? Like, it's like creating this fake idea in your mind, creating this like cognitive dissonance where a person thinks they're this, but a person is not being it at the end of the day. So it just becomes useless. So it's like, I came to understand that it's like, okay, I really respect Saturn more, not necessarily Jupiter. Because Saturn is just being systematic, having a structure, actually having discipline, actually the right boundaries, limitations, and restrictions. So this way, you can block the things in your life that don't necessarily allow you to flourish in that new space a person wants to go into, right? Because if a person wants to change their health in some way, shape, or form, a person has to set certain limitations, restrictions, in way, shape, or form to get from point A to point B. And if a person can't do that, then they're not gonna get from point A to point B. Lie to themselves. They're gonna capitulate. They're not gonna really go through the process. They're gonna lie to themselves about whatever it is that they're trying to do and shit like that. Or a person might just give up. That's why Saturn is important, because if there's no discipline, if there's no setting the right boundaries, limitations, and restrictions, and actually focusing, like having that laser focus and stuff like that, and putting your attention, your awareness inside of the or externalizing that via behavior that you want to use as a vehicle to manifest whatever it is that you want to manifest. Whether a person wants to manifest health, whether a person wants to manifest a business on the internet, or whether a person wants to manifest, whatever it is that they want to manifest. It's like certain things have to be blocked, like even certain beliefs that a person has about themselves have to be cleared out of them for them to even be in pursuit of that. Like if a person wants to go to the gym, just as an example and shit like that, but a person resonates with their idea that they're lazy or it's too hard. The moment a person believes in that, that has a direct biological effect on their body. Like whatever you think and feel is directly affecting this body. And if a person says they're lazy, they do something, they don't know how to do it, that's a person speaking those things into existence. And once a person speaks something into existence, it becomes real from the perspective of it became real on their mind. And once it became real on their mind, that's going to be the things that they participate or play out, externalize as behavior, stuff like that. Because that's how that person chose to view the world and stuff like that. Because the reality is always going to start in some shit that's lighter in density. So are controlled via what's on their mind and shit like that. That's why science tell people, oh, physical matter came from some unseen shit, but that unseen shit is just some shit that's lighter in density, lighter in mass, and this be the thoughts and feelings on our mind, and this be the beliefs in our mind. So a person really has to be careful what they believe in and stuff like that, and a person has to be really careful what the fuck they do with their beliefs, because those beliefs will create their reality in some way, shape, or form and shit like that. Shout out to fucking Mellow, man. Real shit. Terry G right there. So yeah, man, because that's the space I was kind of coming from and shit, like where it's like a person will where a person will just focus on knowledge, focus on being wise and stuff like that. But if a person can't apply that knowledge and actually change their life on a practical, hard, dense level, what's the point of having all that wisdom and knowledge where it just becomes like bullshit? And once a person just becomes a bullshitter, becomes like just a talker, oh, I'm gonna say this, but I'm not gonna do that, then that lowers that person's credibility, not only with the external world, but also with themselves. Because if a person creates the same circumstances, a person creates the same situation again and again and again, and they can't change themselves, the person will start to lose faith, trust with their ability to even do something. And that within itself is a belief that I can't do something. And once a person is in that space, that's a snowball effect, where a person is now having this negative culmination, this negative accumulation of something that's not even fucking good for them. So it's like, that's why practical action on a dense level is very, very fucking important. That's why respect to the earth signs, goddamn Capricorns and shit like that. They be putting this shit to work right fucking away. And that's one thing about the fire signs and shit like that, and the earth signs and shit like that. Sometimes water signs just stay in their internal realm and reflect on a bunch of shit that they don't need to be in, where they're just water reflection, but they don't know how to get outside of that water reflection, especially if it's like a negative type of reflection and shit like that. So people self-reflect because people are looking at themselves in their mind and they don't know how to get out of these things and shit like that. So it's like, because on a practical level is perhaps the most important thing. If anything, it's the most, well, all these things are important because all these things are just like stages of manifestation and shit like that, where we first with a vision, then we begin anchoring that vision by how we feel, then we begin communicating that vision. But it all starts with the beginning of those seasons and shit like that. Where Aries, it's like, okay, I am this, I'm an individual about, this is what I'm passionate about. Then Taurus season, okay, this is what I'm gonna value, I'm gonna be fixated on. Then Gemini season, okay, we learn to communicate, learn to think and adapt our communication in ways to tailor to that, passion, value have that we want to make sure that idea is your baby. Feed that shit. Don't neglect that shit. Because if you neglect who you want to be, if you neglect what you want to bring out to the world, you're not going to be able to bring it to its full capacity. Where there's going to be some type of disconnection between the process of manifesting, however a person wants to call it and shit like that. And that's within itself is a person lying to themselves about what truly has to be put into for that to even come about, because no one can half-ass anything. Like it's kind of like Family Guy. Like there was this one episode in Family Guy where a fucking Bin Laden and shit like that. This nigga I think he did some bad shit, and this nigga was like, I think he killed somebody or some shit, and then he was like Allahu Akbar when he died, and then he opened his eyes and he went to heaven or some shit like that. But that's a motherfucker lying to themselves or some shit. It's like, okay, you did something, but on the other breath you think you went to heaven or some shit, like where there's this cognitive dissonance between reality and what is going on in the mind and shit like that, right? So it's like a person can create a delusion on their mind onto about who they are, but if these things are not being, if the gap is not being bridged in reality, that reality is not gonna, practicalize. It's not gonna be communicated properly and shit like that. So it's like a person can lie to themselves if they don't do the work. But if a person doesn't actually do the work and stay consistent, like today, for example, I was thinking like, yeah, man, I'm gonna go to the Jamaican shop. I'm gonna get me some chicken. I'll get me some weed and shit like that. But I said, hold on. These are the same fucking patterns that were stopping me from even focusing on my goals. So I have to like stay 10 toes down. I'm like, I don't want to go back to that space. I don't want to go back to that reality because I'm tired of that shit. Like that's like boredom, where a person is just bored with themselves. They don't know what to do with themselves. They just go out into the world and just do whatever the world fucking offers them and shit like that. So it's like boredom is a powerful thing too, because it's like if a person directs that boredom properly, they can find channels to direct their energy and their awareness to actually create something worthwhile. It's not a bad thing, but a lot of times when people are bored, they get lost in the external world, especially this damn motherfucking TV plasma screen. People get lost on TikTok, get lost on Instagram. Hey, you can get lost in this video. This is a great video. I ain't mad at you and shit like that. But what am I saying? I give my awareness to shit that's not even going towards my purpose. And then a person is frustrated, angry with their life because they're not where they want to be. And the person is not where they want to be because a person is lying to themselves about the process there to even get to where they want to be. Everything has a process and stuff like that, right? And the mind is always processing things. So if a person is not using their awareness, if a person is not their, thoughts and feelings, because these things are like currencies and stuff like that, be it the person is going to be processed by the thoughts and feelings that are synthetic, that are put out there by the world, and to play these things out, or a person is going to use their own and actually will things into existence that actually help them create their reality they want to. But it all starts with observation. It all starts with controlling your behavior. It all starts with controlling your habits and shit like that. If a person can't even control their habits, if a person can't even manage their patterns, then there's no snowball chance to even do anything, like to even change your life like that. You know what I realized? I realized is focusing on the love, passion, and God shit. This furthermore strength. Yeah, real shit. But it's like people can't even fucking do that because like there's so much shit out here that's trying to take your attention, man. Shit, I'm trying to take your attention too right now. God damn it, Bugs Bunny on TV is trying to take your attention. God damn it, the school's trying to take your attention. The advertisement campaign is trying to take your attention. Everybody's trying to attention, but yet this attention is the same shit that's giving shit energy. It's like think about when you give a motherfucker like your attention. That like kind of like it's like giving them a flow of awareness. Well, it's like, oh, this person is aware of me. We're in the esoteric conscious realm. This is literally like free energy and shit like that, right? So it's just like a person really has to know what they're doing with their awareness. A person really has to know what they're doing with their mind. Because a lot of the times our mind is already pre-programmed for us, but it's our job, it's our duty, it's our obligation to take control of the programming of our mind. Because if we fucking don't, and if we capitulate, if we lie about the nature of what we do behind closed doors, because everything you do comes with you everywhere you go. Like, everything you do comes with you everywhere you. Bad habits that you be behind closed doors come with you everywhere you go. The good habits you do behind closed doors come with you everywhere you go. If a person meditates, if a person is journaling, if a person is really doing the shadow work, that's coming with them everywhere they go. Where that behind closed will be made evidence when a person is expressing themselves everywhere they go. So it's just natural. Hold on, is it just me or the stream is cutting in and out? I got my headphones on and shit like that, so usually it doesn't happen. Maybe it's the way I'm talking. But anyways, it's like, for real. It's like everything you do comes with everywhere you go. So it's like, a person can't lie to themselves about the process of change. And a person can lie to others and shit like that. But most importantly, all right, it's good. This sounds good. Yeah, it's like a person can lie to others all they want to. But it's like, it's not even about other people. It's about just being honest with you. At the end of the day, whatever you do, it's not for others. And as a person is doing what they do from a space of validation, from a space of, wanting to be accepted and shit like that by others. But at that point, it's like you almost fall short from the fullness of yourself, where it's like now you're just dividing yourself for the world. So a person like that is one way one person, one way another group of people, one way like this, one way like this, and they got pieces of them going in different directions and shit like that. That's why it's important for people to be more holistic, to just live in their truth and not live in a lie where they're biasly divided internally, and so they're internally and shit like that, right? So man, it's like, honestly, I'll probably low-key now with Saturn way more and here's the thing, man, just saying it doesn't do it justice. It's like Melo said, you gotta do it. Like, actions speak more than fucking words and shit like that. Where a person can speak all the bullshit they want to, but if a person doesn't take action and continuous action, it's like nothing will become solid, nothing will become dense of it. So a person can sit there, talk all the good game they want, but these inconsistencies will be seen by others anyways. So it's like a wise move would be not to set yourself up for failure, not lying to yourself about what you're doing. Because if a person truly wants to grow, they have to be honest with themselves. Because growth takes honesty. Growth takes honesty, especially when a person is doing the shadow work. Like, if they're honest with themselves about why they're chasing certain external things. Because it's kind of funny, because when you deal with that internal thing, you will no longer have need of that external thing anyways. And you can have more of that external things, where it's kind of funny. When you want something, you can't have it. But when you don't need or want something, you can have as much of it. So the universe has like a very strange way of looking at niggas that are thirsty and being like, yeah, this nigga thirsty, bro. We not gonna be that. But when a person is in the space of fulfillment, they're already happy with themselves or satisfied, they can have as much of it as they want to. Because a person is not looking for like a fucking salivating dog and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just easy. But the whole point of this video is just more structure, more discipline, and more consistency in whatever it is that a person is pursuing, whatever it is that they do, and shit like that. Less knowledge, less wisdom. Because if you read one book and you stick with reading that one book, you'll probably learn and do more just with that one book versus having 100 books and just has in their library but they don't do anything with. Where it's like that idea of the less you have, the more you'll be. And the same thing goes with the mind. The less thoughts and feelings a person has on their mind, whether attention is divided, so therefore they're conquered, it's like the more they'll be able to do. Because the less that is on your mind, the more you're able to focus on one thing and bring about that one thing, rather than dividing yourself across a multitude of many things. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a creative genius with multiple prospects and ways of, expending your energy to bring about productivity in many different areas. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But it's like but you have to know how to do that and stuff like that. And I'm not personally at that stage. I'm not personally at that level. I gotta focus on one fucking thing and stick with that one thing for the fun. Because that's the only way I'm gonna be able to bring about or actually just manifest, create the characteristic that is attributed with discipline and structure. Because if a person can't structure and discipline themselves throughout the day, then guess what? There will be a structure there for them. There will be a discipline there for them that they will not. It's called a job. It's called going to places that you don't want to be at because a person didn't necessarily cultivate the character, didn't cultivate the values to actually put themselves in the position that they claim they want to be. So now here a person becomes 30, 40. Now, shit, I'm looking at the past. I wisha, I shoulda, I coulda, maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. But that was a process. That was from one point to point B. That's why it's like people get at it because like the system is designed in such a way where it keeps you busy with things like, and there's nothing wrong with school, all these things and shit like that, right? But it's designed in such a way where you will have certain you will have certain things that you're obligated to give your energy to because that's the way the society is constructed, like getting a car, getting in debt, hey, get this mortgage and stuff like that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these things, but there's so many different creative ways to these things where a person doesn't have to necessarily follow the structure that society provided for. There's so many creative ways to get a car and stuff like that. It's not necessarily about doing things how other people do it. It's like, nah, you might be a famous artist, you could be a famous rapper, shit. A dealership might be like, drive our car in your music videos and you can just, I don't know, have a better deal or have it for a week or a month, whatever it may be. The point is, nothing is fucking impossible if you just put your mind to it and truly and honestly put your mind to it. Because at the end of the day, God loves an honest, earnest person. All possibilities, the universe. Gods and God spirits, however you refer to them, because it's like the universe can entrust you with more. It can give you more thoughts and feelings on how to go about creative idea that you got, or that whatever it is that you want to bring about. But you climb that ladder, and when you climb that ladder, each step is like, okay, you're trusting yourself, and the external world can trust you, and like things in the invisible ether can trust you and resonate with you because you're going down that path that not many want. Because think about the ideas and the thoughts that most people mind. Let me go get a McDonald's burger, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, if that's all a person has on their mind, we're defined by vices, but they got no virtues, like temperament. The idea of being able to temper yourself and wait for certain things, that's a very powerful idea. Because it's like you're not gonna get lost in the external world so much to the point that you make your life about external. A person knows how to manage themselves. When a person knows how to manage themselves, that person manage their life. In fact, a person like that will be able to know how to manage others and be a better manager. Because a lot of managers in these positions of power, they never have power. So they just be like going crazy with the little access, with the little power that they do have. They'd be like doing wild shit, but it'd be getting them in trouble and shit like that. Because they don't know how to like facilitate that power. So they just end up abusing it. It's the same shit where a person abuses food, abuses substances, abuses entertainment just for the sake of being comfortable, for the sake of being entertained. But your purpose itself should be entertaining. It should be very exciting for you to see what is the next idea you're going to come up with. What are you going to build next? That within itself is fun. Like, think about the builders of civilization, the builders of society. They wasn't sitting out here wasting their time and shit like that. They was too busy developing ideas on how to build a society, right? And that person can be you in your respective area of expertise and shit like that. But it takes discipline. It takes structure. It takes being systematic. It takes having a methodical approach to life. You have a system to go about things, not just lost in your mind, lost in the world where a person doesn't even know what to do with themselves. So hey, any drug dealer can come pick you up in their car, tell you, hey man, come sell some drugs for me. I got some money for you. And hey, I'm not promoting that or saying no to that, but I'm just saying like a person should have better things to do with themselves and not get lost in the world. Because it's like a person gets lost in the world, shit. It's gonna be a long ride where it's like, man, it's just crazy. Purpose really helps everybody and shit like that, But yeah, man. That's what I'm realizing through my pursuit of esoteric and occult knowledge. Because you can have all of it. It's all available. But what is a person going to do with it? This is why the government knows. It's like a person can have all the access to all the information they want to, but they might not want to do shit with it. That's why only a very few people make it and become, quote unquote, successful in the game of investment or whatever it is that they pursue. Because the government owns people are fucking lazy. Just go outside and look at the average person and shit like that. They don't want to do much. They'll tell you about the Netflix show they watch. It's like the average person has no substance worthy of presenting. Where it's like a clear algorithm where everyone is flowing a particular rhythm, where it's like everyone is just, and everyone thinks this shit is normal, where we normalize just quote unquote being retarded. I mean, shit, right? Like, people normalize being retarded, being slow, not growing, not accepting the uncomfortable, harsh realities. Right now, it's fucking winter outside and shit like that, up in Canada and shit. And winter teaches you the harsh reality of things. Back in the day, your ancestors that were hunter and gatherers and shit like that, they had the harsh reality of things. But now we have these systems that help us be comfortable, and there's nothing wrong with technology. It's just that a person has to put their mind to create technology. But without the harsh reality, it's like people almost forget that, this is a part of life. And they denormalize the part of life where, so the Saturn energy, the harsh reality of life. Because a person can live in their mama's basement, they don't gotta move out. They can stay in their mama's basement forever. So it's like people normalize not experiencing or go for the harsh reality, the uncomfortable reality, the unfamiliar reality, and stuff like that. To the point that now we have this comfortable, convenient system. And in fact, the government, they encourage this shit. Where if a person is retarded, you get disability checks. How come we got disability checks instead of ability checks? If a person is pursuing their goal, their passion, a person should get an ability check. You're doing this ability? Yeah, you get an ability check. How come the government normalizes? There's nothing wrong with it, but the whole health system is fucked up. That's why we have a lot of people with mental disabilities and, physical disabilities and stuff like that. And the government encouraged this. They'd be like, hey, how about disability? Disabled. I mean, I had a conversation with someone today telling me about, yeah, man, I want to get my disability check and shit like that. Yeah, man, I'm applying for it. This shit, and they're looking forward to it because they know they can just sit their black ass at home and not do anything with their life. So a person's like, yeah, I'm getting paid for being disabled. Woohoo, let's go. That's kind of fucking retarded. If you ask me, other people might disagree, and that's okay. I just think like we live in a world that enables you, makes it okay for a person to be mentally slow and not necessarily grow. Because the only way you grow is if a person is not growing, if a person is not planting the seeds, the values that are going to get them to that growth, then it's like what the fuck is the point? It's like, what the fuck is the point? It all becomes like pointless. It all becomes like useless. Shit like that. So it's a fucking strange world, man. It's a fucking strange time we in and shit like that. And shit, it's fucking wild and shit, But yeah, man, that's all I kind of had to say for the day and shit like that. I think that's my rant and shit like, man, like wisdom is like a bitch, right? A person can sit there and read the Bible all day. A person can read the Quran all day. But if a person doesn't apply what these holy books do, or they're not applying from a true perspective, a person is not going to change their lives. A person can look at these pastors, they have access to all this supposed wisdom, yet their own families probably hate them, their own wife probably hate them. Man, they don't even work and shit like that. So it's like, what's the point of claiming that you're the wisest person in the church, yet your life is like ass? You got no hair, your lineup is fucked up. What, Jesus Christ isn't like you? So it's like, what the fuck's going on? It's just so weird. Everything's so backwards. Like, what's actually going on? So people have access to all this supposed wisdom, but yet people don't change their lives. And that's kind of fucking in 2024, 2025, honestly, sincerely, a person should be really ashamed of themselves if they have access to all this wisdom and knowledge, yet they don't even change their lives. Like, it's just honestly amazing. Like, damn, like supposedly my dad has access to the Holy Quran, straight from the wisdom of God, straight from the throat of God, spoken right onto the ear of a man, as a word, as an oral tradition. Yet, it's like, I see him, damn, it's like bro's like depressed, bro's like, it's like, but no disrespect to my father and shit like that. Shout out to my father and shit like that. But that's the thing though, where I was questioning shit when I was a kid. I was like, damn, Dad, you got access. I'm just like him because I'm his child too. So I got access to wisdom and knowledge. But if I don't use it, then what does that make me other than an ain't shit motherfucker, right? So it's like, we all have access to wisdom and knowledge, but it's just what we do with it. And a lot of the time, how we interpret it. What a person might even sit there and just have a bunch of wishful thinking. And I'm not saying thoughts and feelings are not powerful. No, thoughts and feelings are very powerful. You can affect the chemistry of your mind with your thoughts and feelings. You can affect your environment with your things. But at the same time, though, it's like, if a person doesn't use these things, if a person doesn't actually like do it on a practical level, then it's like, what the fuck is the point? It becomes like pointless. Where it's like, what do you really? Because it's like a religious person is just looking for external. Hey, help me, help me, help me, God! I need you, I need you, I need you. But man, you got water. You got look. The point is like you got water, water. Look, stop praying for water. Go get a cup and go get some damn water. You got fire. Go cook you something. What are you praying for? What are you waiting for? You have everything you need access to. Just go fucking do it. Like just getting a vision, a fire on your mind, an idea. That's a vision, right? A lot of people are emotionally even connected from the water element perspective to things that are negative, bad for them. So a person can have an emotional connection, a relationship to a feeling that, but you have the power, you have the ability to use your mind to connect things that are, that can take you on the path of your purpose and actually bring these things into density through speaking it into existence, the air, and practicalizing these things by doing these things. But we don't have people in the world that are doers. We have people in the world that are wishful thinkers. Oh, I wish this is going to happen. I wish that will happen. I'm not saying that's not powerful. No, it is powerful because a lot of times, like, these things will happen, but these things are based upon the belief that we have. So a person has a whack belief, a person will just create a whack-ass reality. But a lot of these things just come from internal fear that a person didn't necessarily deal with. A person might have some type of fear that they're unable, that they're, not sure, the external example. Because a lot of the times, the fear energy itself is what's used to control the matrix. It's what's used to control the simulation. So a lot of the religions is built based on fear. A lot of the financial system stuff is built on fear. Go to this job, and get that paycheck, you're not going to pay your bill, and that's going to be really, really bad and shit like that, right? So the whole system is built based upon fear. It benefits the people in power for you to live this in fear and stuff like that. So the more you are in fear, the better it is for them. In fact, the more that you are in fear, the less that they have to do. Because it's like a person has already self-defeated themselves in general. And this is itself as Jupiter. This is itself as like wisdom and knowledge. Where if you know your reality is being ran by fear, then you know you shouldn't stay in that sphere of reality, that sphere of mentality. You shouldn't let these thoughts and feelings of fear around your sphere of awareness because you don't want that to create your reality. But you have to go from a practical, structured, systematic way. We have to create a practice, a process to, slowly and surely allow these fears and these subconscious illusions to, go to the sink and drain these things and let these things go because these things was given to you by someone else that they was afraid, their forefather was afraid. So it's like, I'm gonna make you afraid. So it's a really fucking strange world, man, and it's a really fucking wild world. So no, there's no problem with wisdom and knowledge, but not applying that shit on a practical level is a shame. Because a lot of the times, practical knowledge and wisdom, people use that shit to make themselves look good. But if a person these things, if a person doesn't actually have a system, have a practice, have a process, which by wisdom and knowledge can be rendered into a practical, useful, way externally, then there's no point of it. It becomes useless. It's just a vain pursuit. Anybody, I don't want myself to go down a vain pursuit because I don't want to do things in vain. I don't want to live a life in vain. A person lives their life in vain when they don't do it. When they don't just do it. Where it's like, just have faith in it. And it's like the rest will, the universe will figure it out with you and shit like that. We're in Sagittarius season right now. We're supposed to have faith. We're supposed to believe in the unseen type shit. We're supposed to just see a vision and just kind of go for it and shit like that, without necessarily thinking about it too much, just doing it. And then it's like when you do it, it's like God, the universe takes the second step and shit like that. Because I've been in a lot of situations where I thought something bad was gonna happen, but because I wasn't in fear, it's like God gave me that thought, that feeling on how to deal with that situation. And every single time I came on top, because it's like I got people at work that low key do me harm just because they think certain negative shit about. Because I wasn't afraid, because I wasn't scared, I was able to deal with that situation. A place of faith where I changed the circumstance, I changed the situation just with my mind and shit like that. Because I didn't allow myself to be scared of people. But that's because I have a belief about myself where I can go at things with courage. But that's something that I have to work on more when it comes to my work, that I pursue shit like that. So yeah, man, it's crazy. It's a crazy world and shit like that. Because it's like, wow, everyone has access to knowledge and wisdom, yet people don't even just better themselves, Yet people out here just, want to hurt you even though they know better. Because their mind is just stuck in a mentality, in a certain frame of reference that they don't know how to get out of. So it's like they might attack you, they might sting you, but it's because that person has a resentment in themselves that they couldn't do. So a person becomes angry and frustrated. I was angry and frustrated this fucking morning. Because I was like, bitch nigga, how fucking dare you have all this access and knowledge, this wisdom, but not do anything with it? Like, it's honestly embarrassing. Like, it's honestly just pitiful. Where a person would fall into their own fire, a person would fall into their own pit of hell that they self-created themselves. Because a person is so subconsciously wired that they jump into it. You ever see a person in jail? You ever see a person just do something stupid? Even though you can look from a distance, be like, man, I know that's stupid. I know you should jump over that rock. But a person would just do it because they're subconsciously wired and they believe that that's the reality. Like, for real, we really, the ghost in the shell, and the shell is programmed by the ghost, by the spirit, the subconscious is programmed and shit like that. And we just do with this body whatever is on mind and shit like that, right? That's why the Bible says some shit like, oh, let this mind be in you that was in Jesus Christ. That means grow the fuck up. Put your big boy panties on. If you're a girl, put your big girl panties on. If you're a dude, put your big boy boxer on. It's time to drop your nuts. No one's gonna teach you to drop your nuts. You gotta do it your damn self. No one is gonna encourage you to be like, hip, 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 hooray, hip, 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 hooray. Oh, you're cool, you're cool, you're cool. Nobody gives a fuck. No one has time for that. And the more you wait for that, the more time you waste. Where again, it becomes like you know what you have to do. You have access to knowledge and wisdom on what to do. But it's like if you don't use it, then what the fuck is the point? Like, I can go open the Bible right now. But if I apply it, then what the fuck is the point? It becomes just useless and shit like that. Down to even, I remember like when I was growing up with my father, he was telling me some shit like, yeah, the Quran is a great book, but I'm a bad Muslim and shit like that. I'm like, no, nigga, you just don't apply what the book says. I really believe in it. I'm just saying like, if there's probably some really good shit in there. I'm not gonna lie to you. But if a person doesn't apply that shit, then what the fuck is the point? So yeah, I can have all the esoteric knowledge, all the wisdom. I can show you my esoteric occult library right now. But that shit ain't shit if I don't apply that shit, right? But really, it's like this here is the book. The wisdom is here. The knowledge is already here. But a lot of the times, a person's temple is infested by certain vices like laziness, sloth, like certain things that they are attached to that they play out as behaviors and stuff like that. But right? If a person eats so much food just for comfort and shit like that, like, why is a person doing that? Like, what are you looking for in that food? What the fuck are you looking for in that burger? Like I don't get it. Like, what the fuck? So it's like, man, it's crazy. It's crazy because people lost in the external world just based upon not having their own structure, their own system, knowing how to set up the right. Not that this and what's right for you is not necessarily what's right for me. So you got to know yourself and shit like that, right? But if a person can't set the right boundaries, the right limitations, the right restrictions for their life, so they can go down a target with focus and pinpoint accuracy to bring about that. Because whatever you pay attention to, that's what you're gonna bring about in reality. So that's why I like that Saturn energy of just having that limit, having that boundary, having that restriction, just to bring about that result you're looking for is really important. And it's not something that you do for an hour or for a day, for a week, and then you off. Like, a person can, for example, go to the gym for a week and then stop going to the gym. But it's about making a lifestyle change. There you go. A person has to make a lifestyle change, a forever change, a lifestyle change for the long term. So you have to be in it for yourself. You have to be invested in it for the long term. If a person is invested in it for the short term, then that's short-minded thinking. It's probably seeking some type of short-term pleasure. Where a person has a desire for something and when they don't get it, they get disappointed. They're like, oh, damn, I was hoping to get that thing, but I didn't. Shit, I guess I'm going to give up and shit like that, So, yeah, man. It has to be a lifestyle change. A person has to honestly make a lifestyle change. And that the only way you can make a lifestyle change is through sacrifice. You have to sacrifice no longer serves you. There's a lot of thoughts and feelings on the mind. There's a lot of habits a person may play out that doesn't necessarily serve them. But it's like, so you have to sacrifice. You have to let that go. You have to burn that in the fire. You know what I'm saying? Burn that in the fire or shit like that. Let that go. And you have to, and a person has to be honest about that long lifestyle change, right? If a person doesn't sacrifice that, it's always bound to come back. If a person allows their old mind to possess them again and just start these behaviors again, then that's not a lifestyle change. That's just I hope, I should, I wish, I could have, maybe, but it's not a definite yes. I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna stick with it. So it's really interesting. But I'm like Pisces moon, Virgo sun, so it's like I get really like mutable, really adaptable. I'd be like so many places at once. So it's like I gotta learn to like stick one thing and stuff like that. Because the whole world is fighting for your attention. Shit, I'm fighting for your attention right now because I like me some me and shit like that. But you gotta give your attention back to you. You gotta take your attention and invest it in something worthwhile for you. Because everyone's gonna fight for your attention and shit like that. But you should be very careful where you invest that attention. Like you're giving energy to something, and if whatever you're giving energy to, it's not creating the lifestyle or like whatever it is that you're looking for, then don't give it attention. It's like having a retarded friend, where a person gives that retarded friend attention, and it's like that friend feels alive. Woo woo! I'm getting attention. I'm getting attention. It's like you're giving that shit life. But if you stop giving that friend attention, they're probably gonna go somewhere else to get that attention from somewhere else. Same thing with our thoughts and feelings. Same shit with the shit that's on our fucking mind and shit like that. Yeah, you're right. Yes, good reminder. Let's do it. Whatever it is, action. Yeah, exactly. Really actionable steps to actually change your life, and just like steps that are for the long term, not for the short term. And it's like that's with manifesting. People think manifesting is this like short term journey where, whoo, I'm gonna manifest in the new moon, and I'm gonna write down my manifestation journal, ooh, and it's gonna manifest tomorrow when I wake up. And they open the door with a new car or whatever. The person is that delusional, then okay. But manifestation is not this like magic trick. It's a long term process. But it's really just about tunnel visioning. Vision, you choose what you want to. It's like you almost just start to bring it about in the external reality. Like there's certain things that you choose to resonate with, and there's certain things that a person no longer chooses to resonate with, and that's what creates like a person's reality and shit like that, right? So it's like manifestation is a long-term process. It's a lifestyle change. Think about it, for a person to manifest a healthy state of being, they have to remove certain states of being that they're in. They have to like move away from those states. Like we're talking about the United States. Might be in one state they don't like, but they have to jump to another state of being to be mentally healthy. Same thing with health. If you want to be healthy, there's certain things that you have to do to be healthy. And a lot of these things just start with our mind. Because a lot of the times people manifest diseases, biological problems, just based upon how they think and feel. I think even cancer, like breast cancer, is a sign of like hating women in the family in some way, shape, or form. But don't quote me on that. I am a metaphysical doctor, but don't quote me on that. But that's the thing, man. It all starts with your mind. Skin will start to look better if you just think and feel about yourself better. If a person is pessimistic, if a person is negative, that will definitely show up in their body in some way, shape, or form. A person's health will be affected and shit like that in some way, shape, or form. So you have to be really careful what you think about. You have to be really careful how you feel about and what you hold on to. Heart is like a cup. That cup has a fluid, has a substance in it. But if that fluid, that substance is not good for it, then it's like holding on to something that's hurting you rather than helping you. And it's not logical, it's not reasonable to hold on to patterns that are hurting you and not helping you. It's not logical, it's not reasonable. So, and that's humanity. Humanity does things that are not reasonable, and they wonder why they're fucking humanity. They wonder why humanity is why it is right now. Humanity is not a logical, reasonable species. And it's like God itself is like, God is like a duality of things, a multitude of attributes and characteristics. But at the same time, though, one thing that stands out to me in it, and the whole thing, is like practicality and logic. Because if a person if a person is honestly practical and logical, they will be able to structure their life in a way that makes sense. Like the homeless person in the street, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with homeless people, but it's like homeless people don't fucking make sense. I'm not saying that's, I'm just saying like, if you're sick in the street, coughing blood, talking to yourself like crazy, talking to other people like crazy, then you probably don't make fucking sense. So it's like God is about practicality and logic as well. But God is also about the right brain creativity, where it's like there's a multitude of ways, angles that you can bring about the reality that you want to. So you don't have to limit yourself in a structure. And we all use these energies either way. A person can have a bad structure or a good structure. A person can have a healthy emotion or a bad emotion that bring about thoughts and feelings and things that they resonate with on their mind, that's good or bad based upon the space that they're in. So it's a person has to be selective about the space that they motherfucking in and shit like that, right? So yeah, man, be selective about what you do. Be very selective with your time, because it's like your time is important, your time is valuable, and whatever you give your time to, that's like something that you're bringing about in reality. So it's like, be careful with your attention, because nowadays it's like A dog has a better attention span than the average person. The person can't pay attention to one thing for too long, let alone a fucking meme on the internet, let alone a fucking scrolling through Instagram or some shit. Where it's like they entertain with one thing, they want to go to the next thing, then they check the comments, what other people say. We're like, your mind's going all over the place. Versus versus planning your day and like, this is the point I'm gonna hit on my day. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna do this art. I'm gonna make this video. I'm gonna prepare this presentation. Where now it's like you're actually your life versus having your life planned for you. Because if a person doesn't set their intentions will be set for them. And then they will wonder why their life is the way there is, or why are they where they are at. Because time is moving forward, never backwards. So you have to be very careful what you're moving forward on. Because you're probably gonna move backwards on something that you know you should do. Right? And yeah, man. It's like the Death Reaper, the consequences, that shit comes for everybody. And everyone gets what they deserve at the end of the day. So it's like, everyone, I'm not, look, and it all depends on your beliefs. Some people honestly believe they don't deserve shit. Some people honestly are programmed like, I'm not shit. And they carry on these behaviors. In fact, they may talk about themselves in front of others like they're not shit. And then they want people to treat them the way they do because they disrespect themselves, so the world disrespects them. So again, it's like everyone has access to wisdom and knowledge, but how you practice that, how you structure that into your life, how you're disciplined about it, is going to be the ultimate determining factor if that wisdom and knowledge is going to affect you. Like, I can sit here, talk about a bunch of shit. If people don't apply it, then what the fuck is the point? If I can sit here and know all this wisdom and knowledge, but I don't apply it in life, what the fuck is the point? It just becomes like a vainful pursuit of wisdom and knowledge, but never true application. Never true, never actually pursuing the path. Never being the path and stuff like that, right? But yeah, man, with that being said, I know I said I was done with this rant like fucking 20 minutes ago or some shit like that. But I can sit here, talk for days, talk for hours and shit like that. But you know what? I got other shit to do. And I know everyone here got shit to do. Right after this video, whatever you know you need to do, just start it. Because you'll never be ready anyways. Like, a bird is not going to come to you and tell you you're ready. Your mom's not going to tell you, hey, you're finally ready. No one's going to tell you you're ready. You're ready when you make yourself ready. And that's the only reality. You're ready when you accept that you're ready. And you just do it. It's Sagittarius season, baby. Time for faith. Time to jump into some shit. And that's it. Peace out, everybody. I'll see y'all when I see you.